Shall we fire up the DeLorean and kick in the old flux capacitor and head back in time? I think we might. We could head back, for example, to December of 2020 when, there's so many Daily Mail front pages to choose from for this one. I quite like this one. Boris, let's write new chapter for Britain. PM's rallying cry to nation on day of historic Brexit deal vote. This is probably my favourite. Hallelujah, it's a merry Brexmas. And hopes rise for a joyful new year. What else? Get ready for blast off Britain. UK gears up for business boom with Brexit deal done. PM urges all MPs to back him as its right thing to do. I could go on, but I don't know if you could bear it, to be honest with you. Hallelujah, it's a merry Brexmas is probably my all-time favourite. Oh, and then another one. Against all odds, Boris has won a new Brexit deal. He's done his duty. Now MPs must do theirs. Now, given the enthusiasm with which Rishi Sunak's undoing of Boris Johnson's deal, and don't forget that Rishi Sunak campaigned on the back of this ridiculous deal as well, it's somewhat odd to reflect upon how quickly the world turns, unless you think that this ludicrous apology for reporting was confined to the pages of the Daily Mail. Here, well, do you recognise this bloke's voice, trumpeting the deal that got essentially put in the dustbin yesterday?
We got Brexit done. We said that we would get Brexit done, Mr. Speaker, and we did. We got Brexit done.
I'll show you what the Daily Mail have done today. So they've gone from hallelujah and merry Brexmas and, oh, Boris is wonderful, I hope he'll let me carry his satchel home, to this today. Has Rishi done the impossible? I can't quite conceive of the contempt in which you must hold your readers, or indeed your listeners or viewers, in order to segue effortlessly from this Boris Johnson cheerleading to hailing Rishi Sunak for having undone some of the damage, some of the ludicrous, unnecessary, richly described damage that Boris Johnson and his mates have done to this country. It is breathtaking, right? Imagine how little respect I would have to have for you to, for example, tell you that, oh, Brexit's all over and done with, there's nothing to worry about anymore. I might as well wear a T-shirt saying, I understand nothing. I understand nothing. Not only did I encourage you to vote for it, but now I'm pretending that it's all done and dusted, it's game over, and it's time to move on. I could have it tattooed across my forehead. I understand nothing, and I hold you in complete contempt. That's the editor of the Daily Mail for you. Shifting in the blink of an eye from claiming that Boris Johnson, no, let's get this absolutely right, from claiming that Theresa May displayed the steel of the new Iron Lady, to claiming that Boris Johnson was the Messiah in short trousers, to claiming that Liz Truss was the answer to all of the nation's problems, to claim, and they've never really been that warm about Rishi Sunak, but now they're greeting his so-called Windsor Agreement as the impossible. He's done the impossible. Do you know what Rishi Sunak has done? Come here a minute, I'll tell you. Rishi Sunak has recognised reality. It is absolutely heartbreaking to think that we have somehow created a country in which recognising reality is remarkable. And it's a very rare example of something upon which we can almost all agree. And God knows those examples are very, very thin on the ground at the moment, have been now for a while. But we can almost all agree that this is remarkable. That's incredible. The deniers of reality and the describers of the denial of reality unite today to reflect upon how remarkable it is that reality is now being recognised. I find it almost, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I find it almost impossible to articulate how bonkers this is. It is the first glimmer of rational behaviour from a UK Prime Minister since Theresa May was in Downing Street. The rest of it has been denial and delusion, inflated to ludicrous proportions by ridiculous human beings like Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nadine Dorries, and Brexit hardman Steve Baker, who's had a bit of an odd conversion. And he spoke very poignantly about the damage done to his mental health by the trials and tribulations of the last 7 years. One has nothing but sympathy for such experiences and respect for his honesty in talking about them. But of course, neither does it give anybody a free pass for the responsibility they bear for the madness inflicted on the country. I think he deserves huge praise for essentially admitting to guilt and a sense of shame. I presume these are the burdens that have put pressure on his mental health, staring at the country and seeing it going in precisely the opposite direction to the one that you promised millions of people that it would go in. You remember the cheaper food or whatever it may have been, the money for the NHS, the booming economy, whatever it was I cannot imagine. He's the only one honest enough, and I presume this is what he has been broken by. He's the only one honest enough to acknowledge that everything's gone appallingly wrong. So I don't think anyone should blame him for clutching at a straw yesterday that this somehow signals the end of the process. The process has barely begun. We haven't even imposed the full terms and conditions of the bits of the withdrawal agreement, the main bits of the withdrawal agreement that haven't been changed yet.